for the council to consider. Each department will have a matrix that is designated for that department and will start pay and 19 annual pays for each position. So the start pay and 19 annual pays for each position. So the department heads have a clear roadmap for employee pay. Department head annual increases top out at 8 years. Chief deputies will be a percentage of their respective department head. Every department's matrix is generally the same, with slight differences to address the uniqueness of each department. Part-time compensation will not be greater than full-time rate of the position being filled. The recommended changes to Montgomery County employee policy are that elected officials will begin at year 1, with the exception of consecutive terms. Employees leaving one department and taking a position in another department would forfeit time served credit as it pertains to the pay schedule. Years of service credit will run from January to December. Start dates after June 30th will not qualify as 1 year served. An employee expelled or let go generally is not eligible for rehire. I think we addressed that a little bit later though, in another form. An absence from employment for more than, and we have to fill in how many months. So an absent from employment for more than blank months will forfeit time served credit. Exceptions being medical, call to military service, special exception by the ERGS committee. Compelling factors that brought about the changes are that a 20-year matrix that has an annual increase each year for 19 years works for all departments equally. The previous merit-based program was subjective by department in individual departments and not used consistently throughout local government. The committee found that since the matrix runs for 20 years, it would require that a review be made periodically to make sure that it's in step with current times. Every year would be excessive, so 3 years seems to be reasonable, and the committee felt that that or more than 5 years would be too long for review. The committee found that 2 council members, as I said, and a department head would make a good spectrum, yet small enough to make decisions and getting decisions made. An alternate should be named, as I indicated earlier. It was thought that a commissioner and a member should be considered as one of the 3 members. Is that what you're saying, Gary?
Could be a commissioner or chief counsel.
Yeah, it could be a commissioner. This committee should have at least 2 meetings each year, hold additional meetings as needed. The process for a change to the system should require a department head to go to the ERGS committee to request a change or get approval to have some special consideration first. Give the details to the committee for them to review, to do any investigations needed, and provide a report for the full council prior to the department head requesting a change, so the full council can be informed and act. Bringing all issues to the committee would allow for review of facts and circumstances pertaining to the request. The committee will provide the council with their findings to base their decision on. This will make changes more consistent and uniform throughout local government. The committee has a concern with employees moving from one department to another, as I previously indicated. Experience with the responsibilities and procedures in Department A does not necessarily transfer to experience to Department B necessarily. So the years of service should not transfer, the committee found, from department to department. Generally, a person let go for cause in one department should not be eligible for rehire in another department. However, the committee felt that there should be some latitude to recommend an exception, but that should be narrow and it should be clear that the criteria for an exception be consistent throughout. I think Gary might want to add to that.
Well, the other thing that came up, it's not in there, is additional pay. And that come up when the communications center 911 has some additional pay requests, and the sheriff's department currently has additional pays, so that the sheriff's committee had to review that. And we think that probably there should be an additional pay, but it's going to be narrow in scope. It'd have to be put into the ERGS community by department. We would have to define exactly what the additional pay is for and what it would take to qualify, so that it doesn't run rampant. It was the committee's concern that additional pays get to be subjective, and one department's got them, another department don't, because of better negotiating tactics, and that's not going to work this time. It's going to be countywide, every department. If they meet the criteria, then there'll be additional pay. And I think the sheriff's probably got a pretty good model that's working, and it'll probably be patterned after that. So take a look at what the sheriff's additional pay requirements are, and that'll be a good model. And that's not in there yet, but that'll be there. As far as the budget, there's money in there, I said earlier, for the ERGS project. It hasn't been approved yet. It's kind of a moving target to tell you exactly what it's going to cost because of so many different employees, so much time, who fits where, and every department has put pay increases and new pay lines in. Not every department, but departments have, so those are offsetting. So somewhere in the $400,000 range countywide is what this system's going to cost, and that's, taking into consideration there's already pay increases in the budget, in the total number. So until we get down to the final figure, that's about as close as we're going to get. Questions?
Thanks, Gary. Anybody have any questions? Mark, you have?
I just wanted to state that that everyone did work really hard on this, but Gary and Mark have a tremendous amount of input, and really thank them for above and beyond the call of duty. And the $400,000 estimated budget for this line is, in my opinion, reflective of 5 to 7 years of lack of pay increases. So as it seems like a lot of money in 1 year, we're systematically trying to make up for the lack of raises for a longer period of time to get people caught back up to where they should be. Without throwing out any real numbers, it's my opinion that there will be very, 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 very few people that aren't extremely happy with the new pay and the new system. And as it works, it's kind of expensive initially, but as the matrix plays out and people go off of the end of the matrix and a new hire comes in, it will tend to balance itself and not be a burdensome increase over time, other than the 2% annual pay increases that we've built into this matrix. Mind you that 2% increase is relying on the future councils doing good budgeting and not running upside down somewhere. It would be my hope that that would hold true for the next 20 years, and there would be no decrease in that 2% annual increase in the pay. But it's going to, in my opinion, give people a good work ethic and raise morale, and also it will prevent people from leaving for a job that might pay a little bit more, because if they can go to another job and make $1,000 or $2,000 more, they can look at this matrix and see if they stay, how much they'll be making in 3 or 4 or 5 years, and they'll have to weigh that out to see that, I may be able to make more tomorrow, but if I stay in this job, then I will be able to be making more than that in the future. So I think it's a very good tool for all of the department heads and to retain their employees, and then it'll also prevent department hopping, which doesn't really do anybody any good, I don't think. So it's not like a penalty to move to another department, but you're not going to be able to take your years of service with you, so you'll be not making a lateral move. And I'm really confident that we've done the right thing for the employees of the county. And as Dick has said many times, we were running with no system at all. So I think this new system and the ERGS committee will work as a board of review, that when issues do come up, we will have a system where the department heads can come to the board of review, and we'll just work out each situation individually the way it should be.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else have any comments, questions, statements about the ERGS? I really appreciate all the work you guys have done on this. It's taking a burden off the rest of the council to have done this, I think, and gives us clarity for the future and what's going to be happening. Anybody else have any other concerns? I'll just bring it up. I met with Jeremy up in the highway department and went over his budget. He's making some changes out there. As we heard, there's a lot of work needs to be done on the roads. And if you look at your budget, he's asking for 6 new people. I wasn't sure that we could give him 6 new people, as far as what we got money coming in is going to be used. But he said he would settle for 3. And there is a lot of work needs to be done on the road. We all know that. I appreciate Jeremy's job he's doing out there. A neighbor who directs Jeremy how to go. Anyway, just didn't know if you wanted to look at your highway budget and see if there was any questions you had for me. The ERGS wages are not figured in here, but I think some of the changes Jeremy's been making, plus the new salaries that they're going to make out there, is really going to increase morale at the highway department. And we've got, what, 2 trucks scheduled for what order for next year? 2 trucks.
2 for next year, and we've got 1 set apart right now.
So, how long will it be? Yeah, hold that.
Shouldn't be too much longer. I haven't talked to Jeremy or Larry out
So as we go through the budget, just keep all that in mind, that we want to do what we can to improve Jeremy's productivity in the highway. Anybody else have anybody got any questions on that? Is that good? Anybody have any other concerns or questions over the budget? As I said, the budget committee will be going to department heads. Do you have any more other concerns, Gary, as far as what's in the budget that might need to be changed?
Just, there's some, one big concern is to make it fit within what we got to do. There's some, the big thing is how much we're going to spend on roads, and And that's a big deal, because we want to fix the roads and make them drivable. And we want to look for the future, so there's some real big foundation work to be done there. I don't think it's something we can't get through, but I think there will. That's where I'm at. I think that's probably the most.
What are you recommending? Are you recommending taking money out of the general fund? I don't know. That's just what I was asking.
Well, the commissioners have filed and got a .075.
Yeah, I understand that.
Which is one of the most restrictive funds that we have. I mean, it just goes.
But they're only wanting that for 1 year, as I understand it, and then drop back the next year.
That's right.
Again, you gotta get through this year. So that's where I just wanna go back over all that and make sure that's what we wanna do. Because it'll come down to, we gotta spend money in Cuban Bridge and a couple other things, or we gotta spend money on departments of the government and fund payroll and those kinds of things. It's in pretty good shape. I'm not trying to say we're way out of whack, but there are those questions we need to get over, and I think those are some detailed, and we just need to sit down and work that out. I think we get that done for now.
Anybody else have any questions or concerns with the budget? If not, then, unless we close the budget hearing, then we take on money matters that we have pending before us. Any objection to that? I guess I would, since that was public hearing on the county budget, I would entertain giving a public comment Seeing no public comment, I would move to close the budget. So, starting with A. Sheriff? Sheriff.
We have three quick ones. The first one, 4340, which is a reimbursement for employment food service back in the meal line. The canine gift fund, 450 in that. Then the vehicle repair, it's an insurance reimbursement check from the crash. Covered for more vehicles.
Okay, here's the sheriff's request to, your motion.
So moving.
Bacon Homestead
Second.
alternate.
Gary made a motion, Mark Davidson seconded to, any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay, number 4 was Andrew.
We had a gentleman transferred out to another state. He got violated yet again, and he needed to ride back to Indiana. Unfortunately, that's not a cheap event. So the sheriff's department helped us out with that, and this money doesn't quite cover everything that was owed on it. They picked up $200-some odd, which we greatly appreciate. This fund gets money in it based on the fact when someone transfers out of state, they pay a specific amount. Half of it goes within that, half of it goes to the state.
I would entertain a motion to approve this. moved. Ready? Second. Mark Davidson, second. Any questions for Andy?
Is this something we're gonna see quite a bit more of? I mean, is this, my understanding is that things are gonna change into where there's gonna be more of these folks around on the street and finding them and bringing them back in is gonna be more common, maybe.
Always the possibility. Hopefully this specific gentleman who we've done this with twice, the court will say no more, but we'll see where that goes.
I think what you're talking about does not necessarily affect probation as much. It's more pre-trial detainment that's going to be an issue in the future.
So the state got half this money that they helped us bring.
No, anytime somebody transfers out, so if they go to another state, they have to pay a transfer fee. And of that transfer fee, a portion of it goes to the state, which, yes, we don't get the rest of it. The rest of it goes into this fund and sits there for this event, and someone has to be transferred back. It's an extra commission fee. So in this scenario, we just need to use these funds to pay to have this gentleman brought back.
Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
Five's the only one that's a little bit different, in that it's truly an additional to cover a cost that we're going to incur. So, as you recall, we hired a new nurse in May of 17, and to get her trained and acclimated to the position, we needed to cover some trainings that our previous nurse already had. So we incurred more cost than we had predicted based on the time that our nurse left. And as you know, we just hired a new nurse. So we'll be seeing a request for an additional, we've got a couple trainings that we're going to try to get her scheduled into prior to the end of the year, so we may see even a little bit more, but we're applying for scholarships where we need to try to cover those costs. 6 through 14 are all grant appropriations, so we received a grant from the state, which is the overdose response grant. As well, the preparedness, it's been pre-allocated to salaried equipment, primarily because that's what they're doing. They're updating plans, meeting with the District 4 Hospital Association, and working on plans there. And then we got a Sharps grant from the Drug-Free Montgomery County Coalition. That's where we purchase these Sharps containers and provide those to the public, and then also pay disposal costs.
I would entertain a motion to approve these.
I move to approve 5 through 14.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Anybody have any questions for him or comments? All in favor of approving 5 through 14, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank you.
Transferring $6,000 law enforcement and proper transcripts.
And that, it is just exactly what it says. It's in order to pay the pauper council fees that are due. And they don't, I don't think they have a law clerk this year, do they? I haven't seen one. So they're not gonna need that appropriation in the law clerk one.
Okay.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any questions about this? Comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the highway wants to move this money to snow, gravel, and sand.
We've overspent in the stone, gravel, and sand, so we're gonna have to transfer $4,163.11 from bituminous to cover that. And then we've overspent in repair, labor, and parts. We're gonna transfer $2,300
your request, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve number 2 and number 6.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions, comments from Jeremy?
Is that the one that does the overlay? The one you said that you had to replace the wiring?
No, that was a lot more than that.
Okay.
That's our distributor.
No.
So,
Just a question, why do we use stone on the roads now instead of gravel? Is there a reason? I've had people complain about tearing tires up with the sharp edges on stone.
Before, we used a lot of road gravel, which I consider basically bank run. And in the heat of the summer, it works out pretty good. It'll stay on the road, but as soon as we get soft, it gets wet in the spring, winter time, it just, basically we're integrating line back into the road to get sub-base to it.
I didn't have an answer for it.
Well, that's there.
You have a reclamation program for getting snow back out of those sections, or to get the ground snow in those sections.
We do have it's called a ditch reclaimer, but it basically looks like a small disc. So when you go to drag stone out, you drag sod, dirt, there's mufflers, whatever's laying in the ditch. Yeah, so it's kind of a slippery slope, yeah. It works on the right road.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Sherry?
I'm requesting to move some money from my attorney fees to our consultant fees. Our prior consultant had some appeals that weren't finished before he left. He did not bill us those amounts, which rolled back into my fund, but the current vendor has spent quite a bit of time this year wrapping up some appeals, so that's my request.
Give me a motion to approve this transfer. So moved. Greg? Second?
Second.
Gary? Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have some requests here from court referral.
Well, there's a bit of confusion because Mark Griffin came last go around and spoke about this, so we're not doing it again. We've done it once, we don't want to do it a second time. We had a transfer from funds, this was to pay for the camera systems, for the remodeling the basement offices, the court referral supplies, the books. So at your last meeting, I know Mark Griffin spoke about it. He came back and said we were good to go. And I paid the bills. So,
Well, I hope it's there then.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we better just take care of this before.
I believe so.
I'm just, yeah, there it is, 5,000 and 20,000, same
We're good?
deal. Yeah, apologies on
That's
that.
okay. We
It
just don't
just
want to
didn't
do it a
get
second
taken
time.
out of my folder.
Disregard number 45.
Yeah, let's strike those.
Elections, does that look like we have any? I would encourage all department heads to reduce as much as they can between now and the end of the year. You know what, achieve that. New business? Anybody have any new business? had something I wanted to bring before the council, that's a concern of mine. And I don't know if we can handle it today or not, but I was going to have, our auditor as being our secretary, draft a letter to the Association of Indiana Counties, County Council, to, address the state on the mistake they made when they set up the ratio on the redevelopment commission in each county. They set up the ratio and the commissioners could appoint 3 and the county council could appoint 2. I think that was a mistake because the RDC being in Dept County without going through the county council, and I would like to see the state change that setup. So, that's what I was thinking about doing, and I don't know, I would like to have a blessing of the council to do that. I can do that, get that blessing today.
I was researching something else, and I noticed that in other counties that the RDCs seem to be a similar situation, able to spend taxpayers' money without going through the county council. So I think that you might be spot on trying to address that through the state so that there's some more oversight to the taxpayers' money through the council, through activities of the RDC. I guess I'm saying I agree with you on that.
I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules to discuss that as well.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
I make a motion.
I second that.
Any questions or discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
What was your motion again, though? Repeat your motion.
To suspend the rules
Okay.
to discuss this inaccurately. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So I guess that, you heard my concern, I guess that would be my motion. To have our auditor write a letter to the AIC to address the state powers that be on that concern.
I'm on the RDC board. One of the 2